Hey guys, and welcome back to Garden of K-Land.
Where plants run free with jokes and clumsiness, let's make it green and wild in the Garden of K-Land.
As someone with a large plant collection that continuously grows and transforms, small or compact houseplants have rapidly become popular to me. It's a perfect way to spice things up without having to shift my entire collection around to make one plant fit. But it's also something that forces me out of my comfort zone because most of the plants that I'm used to getting usually grow very large. So I've now expanded my interest into small or compact growing plants. And today I'm going to show you a few of my favorites. These are small plants that have a big impact. But before we get started, hi, I'm Kayla and welcome back. If you're new here, welcome, and be sure to subscribe if plants are your vibe. Now let's look at some plants. This weird but attractive little plant known as the red earth star is adding a really cool touch of color in my cabinet right now. Don't let the luxurious cabinet life fool you though, because she is very low maintenance, or she has been at least. This is such a cool little like ornamental plant. And even though I have conflicting opinions and thoughts on the term air purifying when it comes to plants, this is labeled an air purifying plant. And I mean, I suppose it's fine. It's so small though. I don't know how much purifying it can do, but I'll take it. One of the opinions shared across the masses though is that this plant is so easy to care for. So watering is a breeze. I only water this about every 2 weeks. I mean, I guess it depends. I know it depends on like your home conditions, where you have it. But I've got mine in this little terracotta pot, so it dries out pretty quickly, and I still don't have to water it that often. Light is a little bit different though. She's gonna need plenty of light, especially if you want to maintain this vibrant color. So lower light will kind of cause this color to sort of fade. And it's just not cute to me. So I do have mine in a cabinet under a grow light. A warm environment is also a plus. I mean, she's from Brazil. That tells you everything you need to know. And general purpose fertilizer has been getting her on through. I mean, I don't know that it's doing much. I don't have anything to compare it to. So I guess that's fine. And although the leaves are what makes this plant so appealing, in my opinion at least, it does have this cute little flower down in the middle. It's really weird looking. Like, I don't even know if it's done blooming or like, what is the situation here? I don't know. It's really cool though. So if you're into succulents, or even if you're not, I know I previously wasn't, I say it all the time. I'm starting to kind of expand though. But if you're into succulents or weird looking vibrant plants like this, I think this is a great option as it grows pretty slowly. And as you can see, it's pretty small. It does produce pups though. So you'll see them like kind of growing off the mom. This one doesn't have any yet, but it does produce the pups. So you can keep them on there and just let it fill out, or you can remove them and give them away or do whatever with them. So lots of options going on here. If I'm not mistaken, this plant is related to bromeliads. Definitely you can tell. So not really into bromeliads myself, but if they're small and compact like this, I think I can start getting into them. But for now, it's just chilling in the cabinet. It's so cute, y'all. Oh my gosh. This Hoya literally has compact in the name. So this is my Hoya compacta, and I think it's just perfect, y'all. It's also sometimes called the Hindu rope, and the leaves take on like this twisted, chaotic form that have a tendency to trail or climb if you have them on a trellis, but it grows very slowly. And the slow growth is actually what makes this such a good compact plant, because you don't really have to worry about it getting overgrown or like too crazy too soon. If you know Hoya, you know that they generally have like these crazy tendrils that shoot out. Well, I never have that problem with this plant. And I think that that's another thing that I really love about it. This is the regular green Hoya compacta, and I've had this plant for years. Maybe 2-3 years. And this is all the growth that I've gotten out of it. So it's very slow. And I also recently got the variegated Hoya compacta. So this is the variegated Hoya compacta, and it's less than a year old. The Hoya compacta also gets an extra point for being low maintenance. I think that since they grow so slowly, that, I don't know, it just seems like they just need way less care than some of my other Hoya. And I really like that I'm able to keep it in just like ambient humidity. This one's in my cabinet, but the bigger one is just in regular humidity, and I don't really have problems out of it. Of course, the more light these get, the faster they grow, but I've got both of them under grow lights and they're still slow. So they're gonna be slow either way. You can either have fast slow or slow slow. I wouldn't keep this in low light just because it would slow it down even more than I prefer, and possibly prevent it from blooming. So yeah, moderate to bright light is perfect for this plant. I was able to witness the rise and slight fall of the popularity of this plant, but it will forever be a gem in my collection. Basically, it'll never ever get old to me, but I would like to emphasize strongly, if you get this plant, do regular preventative pest control on here, because look at this. Do you really want to fight pests out of these leaves? I've done it before and I can tell you no. I'll answer the question for you. You do not want to fight pests out of these leaves. It is a nightmare. So just make sure you don't get them in the first place. Doesn't it kind of resemble a human brain though? Is it just me? Anyway, if you want something slow growing, compact, and would potentially like to enjoy a bloom every now and again, the Hoya compacta is definitely the way to go. You guys, this is one of my favorite plants in the whole world. In fact, the Labisia has started becoming one of my favorite plant genus. Do you see why? I'm slowly starting to get the hang of them finally. I've had plenty of time, as these take their sweet little time growing, believe me. But at least it helped me kind of adjust to the learning curve. Here's what I can tell you about this plant so far. Number 1, 2 through 10. It loves humidity. No ifs, ands, or buts. This plant needs constant high humidity. And if you do not adhere to such rules, here's what happens. I guess I kind of figured as much. I mean, just looking at it, sometimes you can look at a plant and just tell, like, this is gonna be one of those humidity loving plants. Or is it just me? Like, I feel like if you know, you know. So the fact that this is the Labisia turtleback, by the way, the fact that it grows so slowly is actually really helpful, because I've got to keep it in my cabinet and I don't have to worry about it outgrowing that space anytime soon. This would make a really good terrarium plant too. Like, put it in a terrarium, or if you get one of those like glass domes to put over it and put it on your coffee table in a bright room. You can tell I've had some time to think about this, but I will not be having glass anything in any common area of my home. So if you are able to do that, I'm really jealous. Good for you. The Labisia turtleback is one of the most stunning plants in my collection, y'all. God is so creative. Like, the colors are so vibrant, it's like they're jumping out at you. The veins are so prominent and there's so much texture to it. Like, oh, I just cannot get enough of this plant. And then there's this Labisia pumila that has these electric pink margins, and look at that vein down the middle. Then the rest of it is olive colored. Like, this plant is something straight out of Avatar. Like I said, I am in love with this genus right now. I wish I could have more of them. I'm slowly starting to enter the world of like terrarium mini plants, and it's a little bit intimidating, but it's starting to get a little bit more comfortable, so I might be in trouble. In fact, I got so comfortable that I've started moving towards little cousins of the Labisia. Oh my gosh, you guys. So this is the Ardisia. I don't know a whole lot about what's going on with the different genus and species and all that when it comes to these, but I did see online that they're often mislabeled and like confused one for the other. So I don't know. I haven't reached the level of like plant snob yet to really care that much about like the right name for it, but I would like to have the right name so I could do the proper research on it. So anyway, this is the Ardisia. See, I was about to do it myself. Ardisia obovatifolia. I was about to do it again. Ardisia obovatifolia. Okay, if you want to look this up. But then I looked it up and it's also called Labisia snakeskin. So when they figure that out, y'all let me know. In the meantime, I'm going to have this sitting in my cabinet, growing bigger. Y'all, they're so slow that the guy that I got this from, I got it from a plant swap recently, and he was like, yeah, this is a year old. And I'm like, are we looking at Are we looking at the same plant? So yeah, that's how slow these grow. And I'm cool with that because yeah, I gotta keep them in my cabinet and I'm like terrified it's still in the same little mini cup that it came in when I got it. I'm scared to like repot it or do anything. But yeah, look how freaking gorgeous. Let me get closer. That is so beautiful, you guys. Okay, I say a lot of plants are beautiful, but these are breathtaking. If you can provide the right humidity for these plants, I think they would be a great addition to anybody's collection, especially if you want to start getting in like the collector's item zone, or have like a space to put these in. I don't know. If you don't have a space to put them in, make a space and figure it out because these are gorgeous. Okay, y'all, this plant is like, remember me, everybody? I kind of forgot about the Pilea peperomioides. Haven't had to say it in a while. I kind of forgot about it myself, y'all. And a few months ago, a friend sent me one for my birthday and I was able to fall in love with it all over again. So shout out to Jeff. Okay, so I definitely would not consider this to be like insanely slow. I would probably categorize this as like a moderate grower, but oh my gosh, what a statement little plant. If you don't appreciate anything else, you have got to appreciate the oddity and the foliage on this one. It is just so bizarre and playful. It's very popular for these UFO looking leaves. And if you have a small space and you want something that kind of stands out, I think this is a great option. You don't even have to be in a small space. Just if you want a cool plant, period, this would be a good option. Now, I'll tell you the truth. I had one of these. I put it outside for the summer last year, or was it the year before? Anyway, I put it outside and it got pretty big and had a lot of pups on it. And when I brought it back in, I tried to repot it and snapped it like right down here, like right at the base. And when I tried to root it again, it died. And I was mad at it for so long that I vowed even that I would never get it again. And I didn't get it again. Someone gave it to me, sent it to me as a gift. So I still kind of kept my word on that, but I'm actually so very glad that he sent it to me again because I'm loving it. I'm loving it again. And the way that it grows is so cool. It like goes up and out. So as this main stem grows up, it just keeps sprouting out new leaves. It's the cutest thing. And then, like I mentioned, it has little pups. So you can see some right down in there. Oh, look, there's another one. So I think I'm gonna end up giving these pups away to a neighbor. So Christina and Mia, be ready because as soon as these get a little bit bigger, they're coming your way. Even though it can take a little while to get like untamably big, I still recommend putting some kind of support stake in there so that this part of the plant doesn't snap like I did mine when I was bringing it back in. But even if it does get big, it's still pretty confined to one area, so it's not like sprawling all over the place. I think it's a really good compact option. These pups are actually what the name friendship plant comes from. So these are sometimes called a friendship plant, and it's due to the fact that like you can take the pups off and give them to your friend. It's so adorable. The green color of the leaves make me want to put it in a solid color like a black pot just to make the leaves pop, or terracotta would look really good with this. Like pair it with terracotta, that would really complement that green. There's something to think about in that. But oh my gosh, how could I have forgotten how much I love this plant? You guys, I'm so sorry, but this is another plant that needs really high humidity. But hear me out. I don't have anything other than that to say. Like, I would like to say it's worth it, but for the life of me, I cannot get more than 2 leaves on here at a time. Well, yeah, so this is an accurate depiction of the problems that I have with the leaves. But even with just a couple of leaves on here at a time, I think that this is such an incredible plant. It does flower. In fact, I get more inflows than I get leaves, and they're more alien looking than the leaves. These do not get big at all. In fact, whenever I'm looking this up online, did I tell you what this was already? This is the Ulearum dormancy, and this one is the silver cloud. Oh my goodness, y'all. Look how gorgeous that is. I think it's so beautiful. Anyway, this is not a plant that would be outgrowing the space anytime soon. And like I was saying, when I look it up, I always see like small plants with very few leaves on them. They don't get very big. These small heart-shaped leaves, oh my gosh. emerge this copper or like purple color. It's just incredible. And since this plant is native to like the lowland areas of the Amazon basin, they pretty much thrive in really low light, or not really low light, but in lower light conditions. So they don't want any direct sun. Like they grow basically on the rainforest floor, y'all. Consequently though, like I said before, that also means they require a high level of humidity on a consistent basis. So this is kept in my cabinet, which is fine because this is basically the biggest it's ever gotten. In case you're wondering, I keep mine in fluvostratum, and it's a perfect little situation going on because this plant is so small and remains so small that I'm not having to like dump an entire bucket of fluvostratum into here. It's just a great fit. I'm upcycling using the mason jar. Well, I'm not really upcycling because I kind of bought these little mason jars for plant purposes, but theoretically you could use like an old pickle jar or something like that. I've done that too. Having it in semi-hydro just kind of helps me keep my plants watered. So I'll put like Hoya in here. This is just gold. This is just my go-to for any plant that I absolutely am terrified of killing. I'll put it in stratum, and typically I've had one plant ever that died, and that was a philodendron felix that died in it. But other than that, my plants do phenomenal in stratum. I will swear by it all day, but it's a perfect little situation for like plants that aren't going to outgrow this small container anytime soon or don't get too big. And this plant is just a really cool like collector's item. If you've reached that level in your plant collection, I just didn't even know I wanted this until I saw Ecuagenera selling it on the live sale and had to have it at that moment. I'm looking forward to learning more about the Ulearum just so that I can have more of them and maybe even have like more leaves on here. I think that it's such a unique little rare plant and I love it. I realize this plant isn't for, and I'm sorry if you can hear the car starting up outside, but I realize this isn't for everybody. It just humors me to no end because I'm clearly so mature. This plant is known as the Boobie cactus for obvious reasons, but hear me out. It is the perfect compact plant. Look at it. How much space is it really taking up? It's so cute. Well, it's perfect if you have the right amount of light for it because these, I mean, it's a cactus. It's obviously gonna need an abundance of light. My mom thinks this is so ugly. Y'all remind me to get her one. But what is not to love about this? It's easy to care for, drought tolerant, and they're typically sold just in this one like bar of boobies, if you will. But they do have the potential to branch off and like have little arms. I have so many inappropriate jokes that I'm having to like fight through. You can contour this to whatever size you want. It's perfect. You don't have to worry about changing the size anytime soon though, because these grow remarkably slow. And I think that's a good thing because like I said, I've seen them get pretty tall, pretty big. I'm not gonna touch it because they actually have like spikes on these little points here. But if you look up close, there's like this tie-dye effect going on, or maybe like a tree trunk. I think it is so unique and visually striking. I love the Boobie cactus, y'all. I really do. And anyway, I feel like it's also like versatile. So you have the option to keep it small or you can grow it big. Love your boobies no matter what size they are. I mentioned one of these on my last video, so I won't be too long with this one. The Maranta makes such a pretty compact plant. I've got mine in this hanging planter, but wouldn't this be so cute like on a table or a desk, like a living room coffee table? It would actually kind of look great anywhere. This plant grows enough to where it'll get nice and full, but not too crazy. Like it keeps it cute, keeps it classy, very demure, very mindful. So that's just one of the things that I love about it. And you have a lot of options when it comes to Marantas. This one is probably my favorite. The silver band is my favorite for now, but I don't know, there might be a really close runner-up. The verdict is still out on it though. So this is the Maranta Fantasy Light. I really hope that I'm capturing how beautiful the leaves are on this. It's still very small, like it's a seedling size plant, but I can tell this is gonna be like This is gonna be a force to reckon with, y'all. I would say that the Maranta is tolerant of low light, but you may lose a little bit of that vibrance if it's too low. Definitely don't put these in direct sunlight. They will crisp up real fast. These leaves are so like paper thin and delicate, they will absolutely scorch. Take my word on that. It's like a pretty peacock, the way the leaves like feather or fan out. The silver band is highly sought after because of that like silver pattern that goes down the center of the leaf. I mean, I definitely understand, I understand the hype behind this plant, because when I saw it for the first time, yeah, I had to have it. It's just incredibly stunning. And if you didn't know this, Marantas and Calatheas, like everything in that little category, known as prayer plants, they will fold up at night, like praying hands. I can't do it with one hand, but they'll fold up at night and then they'll like come back down during the daytime. And what I love about the folding is that you can see the underside of the leaves. So this one is not as remarkable as, say, like my lemon lime or my red stripe Maranta. Oh, those are gorgeous. The rattlesnake Calathea, gorgeous when they fold up. I think I can understand why people think that these are like fussy plants, because they do tend to be a bit dramatic. So they'll droop when they're really thirsty. Mine love to crisp up at the edges and around the corners and stuff. So like, I get that they don't want to be too dry for too long. Like I said, this is a hanging plant and I tend to neglect my hanging plants, and I can't believe it's still alive. Like, it's doing great. Well, it's doing okay. It's growing a lot. I think it's worth the maintenance just because they're so expressive and so unique, and there's such a wide variety of them to choose from, and not one of them is lacking personality. If you want something a little bit more like cutesy, or you prefer a trelling or trellis look, this is the Hoya heuschkeliana, and this is the pink variety. There's so many different versions of this. The reason why I love this as a compact plant is because it has such cute little leaves that even if you're keeping it small, it's still going to be nice and full and have some characters. This plant flowers so often. There's always something blooming or about to bloom or just got finished blooming, and it's such an easy Hoya to have. And if you don't want it to get this full, I mean, not saying that mine is like super full, but you can manage this. Like, you can have this smaller, you can have it trelling. There's so many options here. And I had mine just trelling at first. I eventually put it on this trellis. Even the flowers are small and like dainty and cute. It's just such a cutie little plant to have. And even when I had this in low light, I don't anymore, but even when I had it in a darker area of my home, it still flowered all the time, y'all. I don't know why it loves me so much. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even remember the last time I fertilized this, but it kind of likes me, I think. A lot of Hoya that I have, the leaves get really big, and I like that. That's kind of why I go after certain types, but this one, I just love how dainty the leaves are. This is another one of my all-time faves for how unique and weird it is. This is the Stephania erecta, and you guys, it's like a potato. I still have the sticker on it. It's like a potato that grows these beautiful leaves, and you can keep this compact. You really don't have a choice, because as the growing season comes to an end, all of these leaves will die back and the bulb right here will go dormant until the next growing season starts. I did a thing and like kind of put this on a heat mat and under a grow light so that it would start growing again. But I did leave it dormant for about a month or two. I just couldn't wait. I love these leaves on here so much. They look like they have, like, I don't know, webbing on them. And caudex plants are another thing that's kind of an acquired taste. Either people typically love them or think they're hideous and hate them. Some years I'll put this on a trellis and let the leaves grow up a trellis. Some years I'll just kind of let them like grow over the pot. Either way, it is so gorgeous. And it is such a treat every year when this starts growing again to see, like, look, you can even see some new growth coming in right there. It's just such a nice little treat every year when it starts back. So even if I were to put this plant outside and let it get really big and put it up on a trellis, and they do get pretty big, y'all, if you let them, it's still going to die back at the end of the growing season and eventually have to start all over. So I feel like it's perfect. It's like a great balance for not letting this plant get out of control, because something like this, I feel like keeps itself in check and keeps itself compact. And I really love that. I love the intelligence that this plant has and how it just kind of rests when it needs to and then wakes up when it's ready. I don't know, or wakes up when I put it on a heat mat, but I just really love it. I think that it's such a unique and incredible plant. The next plant I mentioned like a video or two ago, but I have to mention it again because it falls into this category too. It's not necessarily compact because it's small. It's just compact because, I'll just show it to you. The well-finned sansevieria is typically sold just like this, one leaf. It's not necessarily small, even though this one's pretty juvenile because I recently got it. But the well-finned sansevieria, the leaves can get really big, as you can kind of tell, but it's really slow growing and it stays just like this for quite some time before it pushes out a baby, and you can either leave it on or take it off. But the sansevieria is perfect. Sansevieria across the board. I just kind of only like this one. Once the second leaf grows in on here, it's literally like right up on the mom. It's kind of like my youngest, like it doesn't want to leave its mama's side. And I don't know, I think it's just perfect for a small space. And so for a really long time, you get to have this really cool looking snake plant. And I don't even really water mine that often. I have it in like this, I don't know, this cheap plastic. I think I got this like for $1. I think I still have the tag on it. Yeah, so this is probably like $1. Have it in this cheap little pot and just have it chilling in here, and it doesn't really fuss. Granted, I haven't had this one for long, but this one is about 2 years old and it just started, you know, kind of it just had its first baby. But do you see what I mean? Like it'll grow leaves and they'll just fill this entire pot up. It's really remarkable, this snake plant. Well, this one is remarkable to me. I don't really like the other ones. So I guess I'm just prejudiced against snake plants, but I mean, I just can't help but to be obsessed with this one. More so when it has like, don't ignore that. I mean, don't pay attention to that. So more so when it's just the one leaf, I think that it looks so cool. But then it starts having babies, and babies kind of mess up the whole vibe. I'm just kidding. I love my kids so much. I just think that it is a really good option if you want something cool, but you don't want to take up a whole lot of space. Like literally, it's just one leaf. That's it. And you don't have to worry about this for a while. So you can always put it up for adoption anyway, even if it does grow. But the variegated well-fin, oh, y'all. Oh my gosh. Like these leaves are really thick. So like I mentioned before, they're very thick. They almost feel like leather. I don't know, it's weird. It feels like it's hard, it's thick, it's just a nice plant to have. I just don't think that having a small space should prevent anyone from having this, because it can kind of go anywhere. So guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Do you have any of these plants? And if so, have any of them actually gotten big? That's what I want to know. Anyway, I will see you guys in the next one. Until then, bye.